Hello, welcome to this video. In this video we are going to build a complete AI answering service which is going to capture leads, book appointments and do much more. In this video I'm going to give everything away, no gatekeeping whatsoever. I'm going to give you the exact template to copy for yourself or maybe for other clients. So let's dive in. Okay, so this is the workflow in Voiceflow. So Voiceflow is the agent builder we are going to use in this video. If you have never used Voiceflow, there's a link in the description. If you use that link, you will also get some tokens extra. And also in Make.com, we have this automation which is going to book it in our calendar and send an SMS to me. So to see what we are going to build, we are going to demo it first, so you have an understanding what we are going to build in this video. So let's call myself. All right, I'm getting called.
SILVERBROOK Home Services. This is Sarah, your virtual assistant. How can I help you today?
Hey, so the lamp in my kitchen is not working anymore. Can you help me about that?
Thanks for explaining about the kitchen lamp. May I get your first name?
So my first name is Abdullah.
Hi, Abdullah. I can definitely help with your kitchen lamp issue. Our electrical service is $95 per hour with a $75 service call fee, but we waive that fee if we do the repair. Do you have any questions about the service, or would you like to know our availability?
Yeah, I would like to schedule an appointment.
Perfect. Let me get a clear time from you. When would work best?
Can we do upcoming Wednesday at 5 in the afternoon?
Perfect, Abdullah. I've got you scheduled for upcoming Wednesday at 5 in the afternoon. You'll receive a confirmation shortly with all the details. Have a nice day. Bye.
All right, so you just saw also we received a SMS. So yeah, that was a demo. It was very smooth. I went directly to the scheduling automation, but it could have also answered some questions for me and do some things extra. You could have also see the automation in Make.com. It went on. It successfully made an appointment, and it sent me the SMS. So, which is sweet. Yeah, this was the main. This was a core agent which was going to gather all the information and making the API call, checking the availability, and do much more. So yeah, so let's dive in how I've built this. There's also a template which you can automatically import it in Voiceflow. In the link in the description, there's a if you go to that link, there's just a form you have to fill in, and then you will get access to that template, and you can just import it. And if you want to learn like how you can build something like this by yourself, I'm going to go step by step on each block, so you get an understanding how you can build like a similar solution for yourself. I would also recommend to do this because on the long term, it will help you more. So yeah, so let's dive in. So this is the agent. We have three phases over here. This is the first phase where we are going to like capture the call and who it is and what problem they have. And then this one is going to recommend the best service, is going to give us also some extra information if we ask. And in this phase, we are going to schedule it. So in the beginning, we have here the message block. So to create a message block, you will have to go to talk and then message. You can drag it into the diagram, and here you can type in your message. Since this is on the phone, I would not recommend you to have it very long. Just keep it short and brief, like what I have done over here. And then we are going to capture the reply. So the agent will ask me like, how can I help you? And we are going to save like the whole message. And we are going to save it in the variable last utterance. This is like the default variable and the most recent thing we have captured. And to create a capture block like that, you have to go to listen, capture, and then next to capture, you will have the entities, but you will have to go to entire user reply. Over here, you can create a variable, or you can keep it as last utterance. Like I said, this is the default. The only downside of using the last utterance, the next thing you are going to capture, it will be also the last utterance. So it's like something temporary, but you can also change it to a variable, so you can reuse that, for example, later on in the workflow, or you can send that information to make.com. So yeah, message block, you can type in whatever you like, and then you can save it. You can save it in a variable you'd like, or keep it as last utterance. In my case, this agent step is going to capture like all the important information, so that's why I kept it as last utterance. All right. And then we have the agent step. This agent step has some functions. We have here the general instructions, where we are going to give it some context, what it is, for who it works, and what it should do. You can also include like tools like Google Sheet, functions, API, and Voiceflow has some native integrations like Salesforce, Zendesk. So you can also import, like you can also connect it with those platforms. Yeah, with API you can basically connect it with almost all the platforms which has APIs. And in the other agent steps we have like tools, so I'm going to dive deeper in there. Over here we can also give it access to the knowledge base. We can give it buttons, so if it's on the web widget or WhatsApp or whatsoever, instead of voice call, you can some scenarios give it like buttons to choose from. Also the same thing with cards and carousels. And then very important, we have here the exit path. So this exit path is, we tell it like when to leave from this block. So we told it like you have to capture some information, for example here, their name, with what they need help with. Maybe we haven't mentioned it yet in the first message. Maybe they have said like hello, and then the agent is going to ask it here. But if we have already said it, there's no reason to ask it again. So it's all dependent on what we have said in the last utterance in the first block. If we have mentioned what we like, where we need help with, then it's not going to ask, and if not, it's going to ask, and how urgent it is. Yeah. So once it asks those 3 questions, it's going to save the answers in 3 variables, and it's going to trigger this path immediately. And then we are going to leave from this agent step. Up until then, we are not going to leave. We have to know those 3 answers. So once we have those 3 answers, this path will be triggered, and we are going to save the 3 answers in these 3 variables. So if I click on one of those required variables, you see I've selected a variable and like some instructions for the agent step, how it should format it and what it should capture in this step. It's the same thing with service needed and the urgency level. So once we have those 3 information, we are going to go to a conditional block, which is going to see if it's really urgent. If yes, we will go immediately to phase 3, where we are going to book an appointment. And if it's like normal, it is not urgent. So if they say like in the agent step like this is very urgent, then it is immediately goes to this phase 3, to this agent steps, and it's going to capture a appointment. And if it's not, if it's else, then we are going to this phase 2, and here we provide some extra information, what the prices are, if they ask us like business hours, or whatsoever the agent can help them with. If you want to give the agent like more access to the information, you can toggle this on, and it has access to the knowledge base. So let me show you how the knowledge base look like inside Voiceflow. So once you have created your project, of course, you will see something like this, and in the menu on the left side, you will see knowledge base under workflow. So you click on there, and here you can add information such as your URLs, sitemaps. Sitemaps is like you put the URL from your website, and then it's going to include all the pages from your website. You'd have to include like your website and then /sitemap.xml, and then it's going to like import all the pages from your website, and then also included all the information from on each page. You can also choose to have like separate URLs. Sitemap, you can upload files like PDF, TXT, doc, And you can also connect it with Zendesk. So once you have your information over here, you can give the agents tab access to your knowledge base. So if it doesn't know, it will go to the knowledge base. You'd have to give it some instructions for when to use the knowledge base. So basically you can say like, hey, if you haven't found the answer in the general instructions, you can go to the knowledge base and search over there. Same thing, we have the buttons, cars and carousels, and we have those tools. And then we have two pods. So the first pod is like the information is complete, we have all the answers, and they don't need to proceed. They have just some questions for us, and that's it. They don't need to book anything. Then we are going to this pod, and if they want to schedule something, we are going to the other pod. Same thing, we have here a description for when to use this pod, and with this one, and the variables we are going to save. The variables we are going to save is for both the same. We are going to save the questions asked and the information provided. And depending on which pod it went, if it's like only information, we are going to this pod where we say, perfect, Abdullah, if you need anything else or decide to schedule service, just give us a call back. Thanks for choosing SILVERBROOK, home services, and that's it. Maybe I can add a buy extra, but you understand what we are doing in this block. And if they want to schedule something, we are going to go to phase 3. So in phase 3 we start with and this is behind the scenes, and that's why it took like 1-2 seconds before we got an answer. We are getting the current time, and let me run this function. So time zone is the only input I have to give it. It will then give us the current date and time. So right now it is 28th of June, and then almost 11 o'clock, and the day of the week is Saturday, and the time zone is Europe. Once we have that, we are going to save like the output in a variable. So we are going to save the time zone, which we already have at like in a fixed variable, and then day of the week and the current date. The current date is important because we are going to pass it to the AI agents tab, and the AI agents tab is going to gather information like, okay, on which day would you like to have the appointment? And I cannot say like yesterday. It should know like, okay, today is 28, so it has to be after 28. So that's why I gave it a current date, so it knows, so it has a bit more context, and it knows, okay, if the user requested like June 26, it's not possible. So that's why I have this block included. This is a function. I'm going to give this function also away in the blog on Voiceflow and also in my Skool community. So again, there's a link in the description where you can find all the resources for this agent step. Even better, I'm going to give the whole workflow, so you don't need to import the get current time separately, but I'm going to share that as well. And it's very easy. Just you can go to the, once you have only the get current time and you want to build something differently, you have to go to content, and then to tools, and over here you can import your tool, which is the function get current time. Once you have that, you'd have to give here the fixed time zone and the variables. So the time zone, the day of the week, the current date. You have to create here 3 variables then, and then you are good to go. Over here we have the last agent step, and this agent step, same thing, it knows the caller name, the service needed from the agent 1, and it's going to book an appointment. So it knows, like over here, the current date is 28th of June, so they cannot say like 26th of June, it has to be 28th of later. Yeah, so that's the mainly thing it's going to do. And then interestingly, we have here the ISO format. So this is the formatting it should have to book an appointment in Google or with any other API tools if you want to connect it with a calendar app. And most of the times they require an ISO formatting. And I've created today a function which is going to convert natural language to ISO formatting. So this is a function, but over here I created a test since I've built this function today. All right, so this is the function. Basically, this function is going to convert natural language to ISO format. So most API tools with calendars, they require the time, date in ISO formatting. And this function, which I've created today, is going to do that. It will convert like normal language to ISO format. So let's test it out. I've created here a small loop besides my workflow. And if I say, for example, upcoming Wednesday at 5 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon, and voila, you see 2 July and then 15. This is like the formatting we need. You can see here we have different pods over here. And each pod has a reason why it went over there. And this is like the only good pod, and the other ones has a reason what is missing, is not clear enough, etc. So let's dive inside the function. So the first pod is the success pod. There's no issues. It will give us the format. And then we have here the error pod, the ambiguous pod. This is for when it's very vague. The no time specified, so I will give it a date, but no time. It will go on that pod. The invalid time, so you can see it over here. So it will go then on that pod. The past date, so if I say like yesterday, it will go on that pod and requires clarification. The reason why I gave it extra pods instead of only success and error is because you can like really detailed, you can like know why there was an error, and you can anticipate on each of them. So for example, the date was in the past, you can after that create a message block and tell like, hey, your date was in the past, please give us a good date within time. And then you can loop back to this function again until you have the correct formatting, until it goes to the success pod, and then it will change it to the correct formatting. So let's say yesterday. Can we do it yesterday, for example, at 2 in the afternoon? Voila. And just for testing purposes, I've created those set steps. So it will change the value of the variable ISO format to past date, invalid time, no time specified, needs extra clarification. So in this case, just for testing purposes, I had the value to past date in this way. If I say like upcoming Friday at 2, and voila, it went to the correct path. It gave us the ISO formatting in the correct way. Let's say now, can we do upcoming Friday? You can see it gave us no time specified. So you get it. It will give for each, if it's not correct, if it will give a reason. It will go on that pod, and you can like change the variable to a reason, or after that pod you can create a message block like, hey, you haven't included a time, please give us a day of the week and time, or date and time. So you can do that in that way. And then to set up the function, this function, you can also find it inside my community and also on the website from Voiceflow in the resources. You have to import it, the same thing as what you can do, what I explained with the get current time. And then once you have it in here, the preferred date time is the user input. So you have to save what the user had set. So for example, you have a standard message block or maybe the agent step, it will ask like, hey, what day of the week and what time would you like, and what they have set in that block, you have to capture it, and then you have to paste that variable inside the function over here, next to the user input. The time zone must be the offset formatting. So you have to check where you live, what time zone you live, and then you have to, like it can be plus, in my case it's plus 2 hours, it's maybe also minus 5 hours, plus 3 hours. You have to check what where you live and what the time zone is, or maybe where your client lives. And this is a fixed value. You can also adjust it, so maybe in the beginning of the chatbot you can ask like, hey, where do you live and what's your time zone, and then you can, with an AI set block or something else, you can convert that to their time zone, and then you can give it here a variable. But I think in most cases it's like a fixed value where you have to fill in here the offset formatting, and that will be the time zone. So there's no variable needed if it's a fixed value. And then the output will be like in this format. You have to keep it like that. You can also not touch it unless you are inside the agent step, I mean the function. Over here you can touch it, but don't touch it. If you do that, it won't work. The same thing with the time zone and user input. Don't touch anything over here or else you get an error. So keep this the same. Don't change it inside the function. And then you have to give it like an output variable. And then whatever this function had set, it will be saved in this variable. It can be the correct time, it can be the reason why it was incorrect. So you have to give here your variable, and this variable you can reuse it inside your API call, for example, or somewhere else. And over here, so I was just showing you this. This is the actual function which is working inside the workflow. So what is going to happen here? We have the first part, the success part. If it was success, it will go to the API call. If it's not a success, we will loop back to the agent step, and already in the agent step we have here the ISO format. So the agent knows, like if it's a 0, we don't have any. It's the first time we passed to this agent step. But if this variable is different, it has a reason. It knows, okay, we already passed this agent step. We have now a reason why it was invalid. We have to re-ask like the time and date, like more clear. And since we have in this function for each path a reason, it knows exactly what the reason was. For example, there was no time specified. So the first time we pass this agent step, this variable is 0 or null. And the second time, once it looped back because it was incorrect, it has a reason, and then the agent is going to fix that. So that's about the agent step. And like what I said, the agent step is going to ask like when and what time would you like, and once it has, it's going to trigger this path, and it's going to save like whatever the user had set in this variable. And in this variable, we are going to pass it to the function. And here's a variable, and here we have the fixed date, and we are going to use it in the variable ISO format. We are going to output it in the variable ISO format. And then we have the post API call. So the method must be post, and then inside make.com, you have to create a webhook, and they will give you a webhook URL. So let me show you, for example, here. You have to click on add, and once you've created you have to give it a name and then click on save, and then you will have a webhook URL. This webhook URL, you'd have to pass it to Voiceflow in the API block. Under post, you'd have to give it over here, and then the body is like all the information you want to pass over to make.com. So let me show you, once we were just testing it out, what happened. So I said, urgency level is just a routine. This was the preferred date. Service needed, kitchen lamp was not working, color name, and phone number. So in the call, behind the scenes, it already saved all those variables in the agent steps. and over here we have sent like all those variables to make.com. So you have to give it a key, like a name, and then the value must be the variable. You can also give it a fixed value, but I think in most cases it must be a variable, since it must be dynamically, of course. So the urgency level, we saved it in the first agent step. This one over here, we save the urgency level. Let me do it quickly for you. The preferred date was the output from the function. So when it was successful, this will be the variable, and again the key was just preferred date. Service needed was also saved in the first block. The caller name, which it also asked me in the beginning, and the phone number. Phone number is interestingly, since it's on the phone, the user ID is a default variable you get from Voiceflow once you have created a new project. So like everyone has this variable, the phone number is user ID. This works only if it's on the phone. So if it's like a phone call, the user ID is the phone number. You can then have the variable over here. The key can be just the name, and the name like you understand it in make.com what it is. Yeah, once this API call is successful, the automation in make.com automatically triggers, and it will book the call, book the appointment, and it will send us an SMS. So how did I create that SMS block? So let me show you again the SMS block. It basically said this in the SMS, and if I open this API call, you will see some information I need to keep private. So I've created this block extra where it's like clean. So basically you'd have to create a connection first, and the first thing you basically need to do is you have to create an account in Twilio, make a phone number, and in the account dashboard you will find your account SID and your API token. If you go to make.com and then HTTP, you will see an action is make a basic auth request. You'd have to select that, and over here you'd have to give your account SID and your account token, and then that is configured. Over here again you have to pass your account SID, the method is post, the authorization is your account token, the name is content type, like the second header is the name is content type, application /xww form URL encoded. Same thing with the body type, and then the message service SID. So if you have your phone number and everything else, go to the search inside Twilio and type in message service. Then you will see your project with the SID number, and that number you'd have to paste it over here in the value, so under the key. The second field is to who, so to the phone number you saved it inside Voiceflow, so the user ID. So that's why we sent the phone number to make.com. We automatically have their phone number from the user ID, and we are going to pass that to make.com. And then the third body is the body, and this is just the standard template. It's not real, but you get the image, like start with hi, caller name, and again we save that from the Voiceflow, and then some extra information like some summary, and that's it. That's basically how this block works. I basically will have to delete this block until I have it over here, and then I can export this blueprint and I can save it I can share it with y'all. Over here with the calendar, you can configure it however you like. You have to create a connection first. You have to select the calendar ID, the event name. This is like the title of the appointment, the start date. This is the ISO formatting. So that's why we had it inside the ISO formatting. I believe with Google Calendar it doesn't matter a lot. It's like automatically understands it, but with most tools it needs to be in the ISO formatting. I don't have an end time. What I did was a duration, so I said 30 minutes. So whatever the start date was, 30 minutes after that, that's like basically the end time. Then description, I just said service needed, there's a variable, and the urgency, that's again the variable from Voiceflow. So yeah, that's it. So that's how I basically build this AI answering chatbot. Again, inside my Skool community, you can find all the templates. You can just import them inside your accounts, inside make.com and Voiceflow. If you have never used Voiceflow, there's a link in the description. If you use my link, you will get extra credits. So yeah, that's basically everything. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And if it was helpful, please subscribe. And if you want a similar solution, there's also a form in the description. Just fill in the form and I will contact you as soon as possible. Yeah, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching and see you the next time. Bye.